today's movie, I am going to address one of the Young Turks movies on the terrorist attack, because that's how I simply called it, of one person, allegedly one person. There were 4 people arrested, but one person is killed, and he claimed he did it all by himself at a Black Lives Matter rally where a bunch of cops got killed. And why did so many cops get killed? Well, one of the reasons was because the cops stayed there to try and protect the protesters, because they did not realize that they were the target in the beginning. Didn't stay like that long enough, fair enough. I mean, eventually they realized they were the targets because the protesters weren't there anymore, but people were still getting shot. And this is how the world gets to see their first terrorist attack by someone who is or is not linked to Black Lives Matter, but personally I believe he is. And after this, a set of emotions came from politicians and whatnot, and then the Young Turks respond to that. And this is going to be my response to the Young Turks. And mind you, I do appreciate the Young Turks. I mean, they do have a lot of good stuff going for them. But lately, they seem to be jumping the regressive left bandwagon a bit. And this one is surely no exception.
After the horrific shooting in Dallas, which claimed the lives of 5 police officials, or police officers, I should say, a number of right-wingers, including former Congressman Joe Walsh, made some statements on social media and to the general media about how this is really Black Lives Matter's fault and also President Obama's fault.
Now, I can only say this is President Obama's fault because he should have acted tougher or blah, blah, blah. So that's yeah, okay. He is the president-in-chief. So in the end, he is the ultimate responsible guy. Do I blame Obama for this? Hell no. I mean, no. Seriously. But is Black Lives Matter at fault? Well, yes. I mean, this is exactly what they've been calling out for months, for years now. This is what they've been calling out for. And now it happened. So you want to say Black Lives Matter didn't want this? That's not what they say.
Now, Joe Walsh was particularly open and honest about his disdain for President Obama and Black Lives Matter. And there were a few tweets that he actually deleted himself. So let me give you an example of what he posted. One of his tweets said, 3 Dallas cops killed, 7 wounded. This is now war. Watch out, Obama. Watch out, Black Lives Matter's punks. Real America is coming for you.
You know, I can understand people seeing this as right-wing rhetoric against a minority. I can see this as an expression of enough is enough. I also can recognize this as something that lives with a lot of people, not just Joe Walsh, not just white extremists, but also black people will be on the side of Joe Walsh in this. Because this is going too far. And this is what Black Lives Matter has been shouting for so long. There's a reason not 40%, or less than 40% of the black Americans are even behind Black Lives Matter. Because they recognize what it is. Why can't you?
So let's break down all the things that are wrong with that. Threatening the president, the Secret Service should go talk to him. Talking about war, like, okay, now we should all start shooting one another. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that. It doesn't get any dumber than that. Okay, so you got a madman that shoots at cops. So what do you want, quote unquote, real America to do? To shoot at random black people, thereby doing the same exact thing Micah Johnson did when he was killing the cops?
I'm sorry, Chang, but it seems that you don't recognize the question that needs to be asked. And that question is not, what do you want to do? The question is, what will happen next? So does this mean war? I hope not. I sincerely hope not. But I fear it may. And should they then shoot random black people? Hell no. I really, really hope that won't happen. Should they then shoot people from Black Lives Matter? Well, in all fairness, no. I don't want anyone to get killed over this. But that's the thing. The killing has started. And don't talk about how, yeah, but the police already killed black people, because the police already killed white people as well. They still kill more white people than black people. Yes, but it's unreasonable to see how many white people they kill compared to the black people, because there's only 13% of black people in this country. Yeah, but then also look at the amount of crime coming from the black society. And the worst thing is that, yes, the cops kill too many people. This is something that worries me. It should worry everyone. But Black Lives Matter only when the police are involved. Why does Black Lives Matter give a damn about black people being killed by black people? Whether it's part of a crime spree or whether they're innocent bystanders. You don't hear anyone on that. But now they are actually targeting police. Where's your safety in society then? And don't try to pretend that this isn't what Black Lives Matter wanted. But I'm pretty sure you're going to do that anyway.
Brilliant, Joe. Well played. And then the third thing is, what do you mean real America's coming after you? That wasn't that veiled, right?
What does that mean, white America? He's just saying white America. I mean, what does that mean, possibly?
Yeah.
Again, the majority of black people does not support Black Lives Matter. And they are speaking out against what is happening here too. So no, it's not just the white community. Why are you trying to play it like that?
So you're supposed to cover it up better than that, Joe. And so that's why he deleted that tweet. He's like, oh, right, I could get into some legal trouble here because I just threatened the president, let alone all the other things that are wrong with that tweet.
It's amazing how many right-wingers try to discredit Black Lives Matter by spouting racist BS.
I'm sorry, Anna. This is not a right-wing rhetoric. I mean, I'm not right-wing, and I know a lot of people who aren't right-wing. There are lots of left-wing people or liberal people who recognize the lies of Black Lives Matters. Because Black lives only matter if they can get into the news. Black-on-black crime isn't an issue. And then people will say, yeah, but black-on-black crime, well, nothing we can do about that. So then you bring up, well, there are also white people killed by the cops. Yes, but they're not black, so we're not talking about them. And then here you start talking about how it's racism to criticize Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter itself is pure racism. Why can you not see that?
Right? Like, racism doesn't exist. Like, we've conquered racism. Race relations are fine. We elected a black president. As soon as something goes remotely wrong in the country, it's immediately President Obama's fault, okay? Why is it immediately President Obama's fault? Why is he the only president that we have questioned when it comes to, you know, his place of birth or who he really is religiously? I mean, just think about it. He's talking about how there's no racism and how Black Lives Matter is wrong by saying racist stuff. You're not doing a good job in, you know, making your arguments. This guy was a former congressman. He got elected into office.
If there's anything positive that you can possibly pull out of horrible tweets like this, is it just so instantly exposes the racism of these people, of these leaders, of these talk show hosts. I mean, before any facts come out, he's saying this person speaks for a movement that there's been zero proof that he speaks for. It just...
Well, again, as I said, is Obama to blame? No, but he's the last responsible man in the US, so the buck stops with him. So there is some blame on his part, but only because he's the leader. Does America have no racism? Well, it's easy to say that it doesn't, but it's also unfair to say that it does. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Yes, there are moments of racism, but this goes both ways. And this is the problem most people have with Black Lives Matters. Because whatever you want to call it, it is, in everything it does, a segratory movement, a hate movement that's pitting blacks against whites. I mean, they only care about people getting killed by the cops. And are they right on that? Well, Partly they are, but this happens to white people too, and they don't give a fuck about that. So yeah, the police are wrong for doing it, but Black Lives Matter only wants to point it out when it's a black guy. If that same black guy got killed by a drugs dealer who was black, well, fuck him. There's no news in that. Now is there? And you're perpetuating this. But then we have this nice suited man saying, well, there is no proof that this comes from Black Lives Matter. But isn't there?
There were several thousand images on Brinsley's cell phone. They found footage of a recent protest in New York City's Union Square Park, where police now describe Brinsley being a spectator watching the protest. Over the past few months, we've seen protesters, in some cases, becoming violent towards police. These images now are familiar to our viewers. There was the sucker punch also in New York. And a week and a half ago, some of the protesters demonstrating in Manhattan were chanting, "What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it? Now." Are these incidents, these videos, responsible for the deaths of the 2 police officers in New York City?
These few things, and there are way more examples out there, and I will show more examples, funny enough, but these few things already show what Black Lives Matter is all about. Are you really sure you want to defend this? And yes, I'm not letting CNN answer that question. I've already made my point clear what I think the answer to that question is, and funny enough, CNN agrees with me. Don't worry, links will be below. But yeah, seriously, the Young Turks can't see this. You can't see this, Anna. You can't see this, Cenk. I'm terrible with names. My apologies. I didn't mean to butcher your name. And I don't even remember the name of the third guy. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to look it up. But don't we see this as well? Instead of just saying, well, it's racism to be against Black Lives Matter, why can't we say it's racism of Black Lives Matter? Or rather, it's not even racism. They're actually trying to distort society and start a fight with what we as society deem necessary to keep the peace, our police force. Well, can't our police force be at fault? They are at fault. There are plenty of things they do wrong. But starting to kill them, shouting to people, what do we want, dead cops, is a good idea. Sucker punching police officers, a good idea. These sort of behaviors make it worse, make it so that police officers are going to be more on their toes, going to be more trigger happy because they fear for their lives. And somehow this is a good thing. And somehow this isn't the fault of Black Lives Matter, according to the Young Turks. I don't see this.
Well, the chant taunting police officers during the Minnesota State Fair on Saturday wreaked havoc in Minnesota, hours after Texas deputy Darren Goforth was executed in Texas. So what's going on in our country?
Now, don't make the mistake that this is a racist thing. Don't make the mistake that this is white people against black people, because it is not. As I said earlier, not all black people, hell, the majority of black people do not support Black Lives Matter. They recognize it. They see it as a hate movement. But this regressive left privilege victim Olympic bullshit gives these kids way too much voice. And we listen to them. And they shout and they segregate society more and more and more and more, and we go along with it. And now they killed cops. Well, they all didn't do it. No, I know they all didn't do it, but they've been shouting for it for the longest time. So now someone stood up and did as they asked. And still you like to think that Black Lives Matter is a movement for good? It's a hate movement. They don't care about white people. They don't care about cops. They don't even care about black people, especially not if it doesn't fit their narrative. Black lives don't care about black lives. They just care about attention. Just like how they were moaning that there was too much attention when there was a Paris terror attack. And when there was this, how do you call it, wake in Mizzou, that they complained about how there weren't this many people when Black Lives Matter were protesting. It's a fucking wake for 50 people that died. What did Mizzou complain about? A poo swastika. Seriously? This is comparable to you? This is comparable? These Black Lives Matter racists are destroying your society. And they're doing it on left-wing rhetoric like the privilege and victim agendas of society. Please, do not allow them. Now, are the police blameless? No, they're not. There are cops out there that are trigger happy. This is a problem. So, shooting cops is a good way of dealing with this problem? Of course not. Do you want a society where people take the law in their own hands? Black Lives Matter seem to want that. Not if you're white, mind you, but if you're black, yes, they want that. The Young Turks, seriously, you cannot see what they're doing? Anyway, the original movie of the Young Turks continue, and they talk about how they still will report on people being killed by cops, which I totally agree with. They should. Not just black people, though. It would be nice if they would report on white people getting killed by cops too, because we don't really see that in the news. We only see the black people. And don't get me wrong, even if only black people from now on die by the hands of cops, yes, I still agree you should report on it, because it's a heinous thing and people should be made aware of it. So no, I'm not trying to blame you for organizations like Black Lives Matter or the extremists that come from Black Lives Matter. But because we only get to be shown the black people being the victims, we do not recognize the fact that white people are victims of police brutality too. Why are you not showing us that? Because in raw numbers, more white people are killed by the police than black people. So maybe point that out from time to time. Does that then negate the fact that innocent people are getting killed by the police? No. Does it then negate that as a problem? No, it is a problem. But it's not a racial one, even though Black Lives Matter is pushing so hard to make it a racial one. And yes, by only showing black people as a victim, you are helping them push that narrative. Please. I agree. Keep showing where the cops kill people, because the cops are to be held responsible for this. But don't only show the black people getting killed. Show the white people getting killed too, because it does happen. Anyway, I can continue, and I decide I won't. Criticism, as usual, is more than welcome. I really hope to hear what you think. And if you think this is my attack on the Young Turks and I think they're trash, no, they're not. I do appreciate the work they are doing. I just disagree with them. I have done in the past. I'll probably do so in the future. But on this, it shows who they are. It shows who they are on a political spectrum. They are easy to go along with certain left-wing rhetoric. And I don't agree with CNN, I don't agree with Fox, but I don't always agree with the Young Turks either. And this is one where they definitely are wrong, in my humble opinion. And maybe you agree with me. Then please share. And maybe you disagree with me. Then please let me know why. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, the whole shebang. And as I said earlier, criticism is welcome. I do love to hear from you guys. And considering the topic, have a nice day seems like a bad way to end, but I'm going to end that way anyway. I do hope you have a good day.